here diving into the lore of the Grey Knights. Now, big Warhammer fan aficionado of all time, starting to actually read the goddamn novels. I like Warhammer so much. We gotta get all the basics down. So, Crack Duck made a video diving into the lore of the Grey Knights. All I know about the Grey Knights is that they're like psychic marines. Like, specifically all psychic marine corps. And I am all for that. Because I do like me some psychics, especially when they are out there murdering heretics the way God intended us to do on a daily basis. Hell yeah! Keep crusading, my brothers. Let's lock in. Let's see what these guys are all about. I hear they're cool.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Space Marines are certainly cool, but
Yes.
you know what would make them even cooler?
If there were also wizards. Wizard killing machines with machine gun torpedo launchers.
Well, if they're all wizard knights, had sweet shiny armor,
Yeah.
and arm guns. With all that
What?
cool stuff,
I didn't know they have arm. Wait, the Grey Knights all have arm guns? Wait, they look pretty samurai-ish. Are they like wizard samurai knights? Holy shit. They look like Shredder from Ninja Turtles.
you have the Grey Knights.
Yeah.
The Grey Knights are a rather unique chapter and are one of the most, if not the most, elite Space Marine chapters ever.
Hell yeah, I am so ready. So I've really loved, I loved looking into all the different, the different factions and different groups of Space Marines, how they fight, how they operate. Recently we just did the Death Watch, the alien killing Spec Ops, and those guys are f***ing awesome. So I am so excited. I'm thinking of doing a tier list on, like, all the different things as we keep going. But, hell yeah, dude.
These fellas are the premier demon hunters of the Imperium.
Dude, does he have a glaive? Bro, does this guy have a glaive? Dude, why are they so cool?
As the Ordo Militant of the Inquisitorial Ordo Malleus. The Grey Knights were made at the tail end of the
Oh, so the Grey Knights work for the Inquisition specifically. Kind of like the Death Watch. Interesting.
Horus Heresy right before the final clash with Horus. The Emperor prepared the Imperium for the worst. Well, some would say that the Horus Heresy was the worst, so I
right.
suppose the
The second
super
worst.
worst.
Oh,
But anyways, knowing that if he fell, the Imperium would be vulnerable to the ever-growing forces of chaos, the Emperor sent Super Chad Malkador to gather Imperials fit to defend
Damn.
humanity from the ever-growing chaos menace.
So that's interesting. I didn't realize that the Grey Knights were actually erected by the Emperor. I thought that they kind of came after the fact, because the thing is, from my understanding of the lore, the God Emperor of mankind himself really didn't tell people a lot about, specifically, didn't tell them about chaos, didn't tell them about demons, and shit like that, because I don't think he wanted them to know about it and end up getting sucked in. And that ended up kind of seeming like, in a short-sighted perspective, a pretty big L, because the Horus Heresy ended up happening because no one was prepped to face off against these mental manipulators and psychic power. So I do have to say, it is really, really interesting that he set up the Grey Knights knowing that if he would fall and eventually it would become pretty public knowledge that, you know, there would be these psychic battles with chaos trying to corrupt people, the Grey Knights would be an absolute necessity. So that is really, really interesting. Again, I absolutely love the God Emperor of Mankind. I think he's one of the coolest characters of all time. I don't want to do a specific video on him, but goddamn, dude's like actually the GOAT.
Malkador brought forth 4
Like, actually the GOAT. Very, very interesting that he had Malkador set this up before he died, knowing his demise. In my opinion, the God Emperor of Mankind knew that he would end up kind of becoming a zombie after the Horus Heresy. I really believe that. I could be wrong, but I really believe that.
normal human lords, and 8 space marines.
Oh, shit.
Most of the marines were likely from his Knights Errant, which were an elite group of marines from all chapters, traitor and loyalist, who performed special operations for Mr. the Sigillite. These marines were taken to the moon of Saturn, Titan, to establish a new chapter in the ultra super secret fortress monastery on Titan. Originally, this new chapter began with marines from existing legions, but going forth, all new aspirants would be forged with a special gene seed based on the Emperor himself.
Malkador appointed. So they got specific Emperor gene seeds to give them psychic prowess, and then they get them to actually become the Grey Knights. Dude, that's fucking awesome. Holy shit, genetically created psychic space marine killers. In my opinion, this is what the the God Emperor of Mankind said when he created the Space Marines, and when he specifically created the Grey Knights. This is what he said, in my opinion. This is how I imagine it.
Today, I am signing an executive order making it legal to call your friends fags and retards if they are doing something faggy or retarded.
That's crazy.
Fags and retards, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to start calling our friends this again.
Holy shit.
And we will. We're going to call them fags and retards again.
So in my opinion, this is what the Emperor was like when he developed the Grey Knights. That's just my headcanon.
Janus, a former Thousand Son, to be the first Supreme Grand Master of the Knights, and began production on the new mysterious breed.
I mean, that does make sense, because I'm pretty sure that the Thousand Sons, aren't they the best at magic? Aren't they literally the best at magic and psychic powers in general in the Imperium? And then they ended up falling to Siege, but I'm pretty sure that they were the strongest psychers. So it does make sense that one of the Thousand Sons is going to be the person heading up this whole thing, or an ex-Thousand Son.
To be the first Supreme Grand Master of the Knights, and began production on the new mysterious breed of Marines. And thus, the 666th chapter was born. Cause yeah. 18, 19, 20, 666.
It makes sense, okay? It's badass and cool. Could you stop? Could you stop? That's awesome.
Alright, that's a bit disingenuous, as there is an in-lore explanation for this. During the Siege of Terra, there was just so much insano warp energies in the solar system that funky shit started happening. And of said funky shit, one of the funkier shits was the entire moon of Saturn just disappearing into the warp.
What the fuck? That's pretty funky and shitty. Wait, hold up. How did that even happen? Wait, what?
And then, years later, during the second founding, it finally returned.
Dog, that's insanity!
And thus, the Grey Knights were officially dubbed the 666th chapter, which...
Again, I don't see the connection. I'm still trying to... Wait. How does this explain why they were called that, though? That really doesn't feel... Alright, you know what? Honestly, I don't even... fine.
Also seems a bit far-fetched, as the second founding almost certainly didn't have 646 new chapters, but... we all know that the Grey Knights were clearly named the 666th chapter because it's cool and edgy, and they just wrote some of the lore to be band-aid solutions to the reasonings.
Now, honestly, I respect that. I respect that. Come up with something incredibly badass and awesome, and then figure out why it works out that way. I really think that makes so much sense. And I really feel like that's some of my favorite fantasy writing, to be honest. Because if you end up writing a natural development and getting to a conclusion, sometimes the conclusion is boring as balls. But if you literally write things backwards, like you want to know what the result is, and then you put the plot together in order to create that ending, it's so much cooler. It's one of the reasons why shows like Delicious in Dungeon, right? The anime is so great because they already had these predetermined monsters that existed in different fantasy stories, and they basically put together biology and ways these monsters would cohabitate with each other when they actually write the lore. I think it's really awesome. I really, really think it's cool when they do that. Rule of cool trumps, and then come up with the lore to make sure that it actually makes sense, that it's as cool as it is. And I respect the fuck out of that mentality. Warhammer exemplifies that concept.
It doesn't really matter that it doesn't make sense, because it's cool, and it's also kind of funny that the ultra demon hating chapter bears the number of the beast.
Yeah.
But anyways.
And also, funny reference, because 666 is the case number of Johnny Somali's trial in Korea, which is just icing on the cake.
One convenient thing about your super mega chapter disappearing into the warp for a bit is that the warp is a strange place, and time rarely progresses regularly. Plus, you'll constantly be facing demons and horrors beyond human comprehension.
True. So if the Spec Op Marines, the Death Watch, are there to kill aliens specifically, all Xenos must fall, and they will use any means necessary to wipe out Xenos. The Grey Knights are the mental version of that, where they will use any means necessary to kill demons and creatures that come out of the warp. I think it makes sense to have a full platoon of specifically Mind Slayers.
Which, that second one might not sound like a benefit, but for insano super dudes like the Grey Knights, it indeed is. So, when the Grey Knights returned to real space, they were all
Wait. So the planet, so the moon of Saturn disappeared for a couple millennia with all the Grey Knights on that moon? I thought that the moon just disappeared and came back, so it had warp energy, so they put them there. I didn't realize that all the Grey Knights disappeared with the moon. Holy shit, guys. You know, I know that it's a big mystery right now why the moon disappeared into the warp and how it came back, but I actually do know the answer. I actually do know how it happened. Like, I know the real reason why this went down. So spoilers for anyone that doesn't want me to spoil the lore of 40k. But I'm pretty sure he had something to do with it. Like, I don't think anyone was paying attention to what Gru was up to at that given moment.
Ready, a full-fledged chapter of elite demon-killing machines, fortified against the treacherous influences of chaos. How convenient.
Oh boy, that certainly sounds cool. How can I become a Grey Knight?
Well, first
things first, you must get lobotomized. I've noticed that this is a trend.
Every aspirant has to be a psyker, so tough luck. That writes off 101% of my viewers with an approximate 1% margin of error.
Oh shit,
but
that sucks.
For the absolute 0% of you who are psychers, these psychers are often chosen from the black ships, transporting psychers to Holy Terra. Promising psychers are taken to the Chamber of Trials on the Grey Knight homeworld of
Makes
Titan,
sense.
and if they pass the trials, they're subjected to a more sophisticated version of the regular Space Marine augmentation process and psycho indoctrination. Then, after all that, they have to pass the 666 rituals of detestation. These rituals are super.
Wait, what? Okay, so until here, I was with you. You know, I was even following. I was completely following that they go through more rigorous, but now they have to go through 666 rituals. Maybe that's why they're called Platoon 666. Huh?
Mega nutty insano. So nutty insano that most full-fledged Space Marines wouldn't be able to pass them. But if these aspirants pass, their memories and their past lives are wiped and they're given a new name.
Oh my god. So, a lot of you probably are not aware of this because you may not be familiar, personally, you may not be familiar with what happened with the Death Watch because I already did a deep dive into the Death Watch. So, the Death Watch, they had to go through these rigorous mental trainings where they would live through the eyes of Space Marines that were murdered by aliens just purely to make them hate aliens more. This is an incredibly fucked up rigorous training, but it makes sense to me that you're gonna have, on the contrary, the Grey Knights. They have to go through these rituals, and then because the way chaos works is it locks onto your past traumas, right? It locks onto your traumas and twists your mind in order to become someone that'll work for them. That is literally how this works. That is how chaos works and how it corrupts you. It'll twist your past. So you need to prove that you're strong of body and mind enough to go through the 666 rituals, but we don't want any of that to be traumatic for you so that the chaos bullshits don't control you. So they neuralize the fuck out of every single person after they go through all this. They test if they're good enough, and then they just neuralize them so there's no actual trauma for these aliens to lock onto. How insane is that? But most importantly, in case you really wanted to know why the moon disappeared, it's because of my favorite Space Marine, Space Marine Gru. He is so based and cool. God, the way Space Marine Gru goes out there and kicks ass. This man is out there cooking and shitting.
Reborn, the Space Marine neophytes train under a Justicar until they're promoted to novitiates and are officially accepted into the chapter.
Nice.
The final standard augmentation for Grey Knights is a subdermal silver purity ward across their body to further fortify them against the influences of chaos.
I mean, to be honest, the Grey Knights are super important. It is unbelievably crucial for the actual, you know, the people of Earth, the people of Terra, for humanity. They need a platoon like the Grey Knights to be out there to be able to survive against demons and survive against the mysterious energies of the warp. So I personally love this about Warhammer, and this is something that a lot of people say that Warhammer is fascist. I can't believe Warhammer is so fascist. If you like Warhammer, you must be fascist. The way they train and torture and wipe and purge these people from their humanity to be soldiers and killing machines purely serving the Imperium of Man for thousands of years. But this is unfortunately an evil that they gotta do. They have to do this in order to literally protect the future of humanity. I love Warhammer so much.
Every Grey Knight is a powerful psyker, and they're trained to harness their psyker energies into a protective warding aura known as the Aegis. This training allows them to essentially channel their soul energy through their armors and become anathema to demons.
That's what they call, armament hockey.
Kinda like a mini version of the Emperor's aura. In addition, they're taught anti-demon tactics. One potent
It's so cool. The Death Watch is anti-Xenos tactics. The Grey Knights are anti-demon tactics. There are so many various threats in the galaxy that they create full platoons that are just masterful at fucking specific shit up, and it's glorious. I absolutely love Warhammer.
tactic is true names, and another is, of course, cool sword skills. But back to the first one. To demonstrate how powerful true names really are, one time, absolute mad lad Supreme Grandmaster Khaldor Drago was able to incapacitate a demon Primarch Mortarion by
No fucking way. What?
speaking his true name. By speaking his true name, he was able to weaken
Bro, they literally pulled this shit right out of Name of the Wind, and I'm not even mad.
the Primarch, and then he flexed on him by carving the previous Grandmaster's name into Mortarion's heart.
Nah, dude. Nah, dude. Holy crap. That is an insane amount of balls. He crippled a demon Primarch and literally drew cock pictures on his heart? Nah, bro. Nah, bro. Nah, dude. Nah, dude. Nah, bro. Holy shit, that's so gangster.
Now, depending on how much you like the Knights and or how much you think that Chaos is a total joke, this moment may or may not be total bullshit. But it is a canon moment that demonstrates just how powerful of an asset a true name can really be.
Holy crap.
This moment is totally bullshit though. Anyways,
I don't even care. It's badass and awesome. And shut up.
although Grey Knights are some of the best, if not the best, and they have some of the best, if not the best equipment to face chaos, the forces of chaos are endlessly vicious and viciously endless.
True.
So, in the grim...
Yeah, again, chaos, the reason why Warhammer is so terrifying is because you know that one little slip up could mean the end of mankind forever.
darkness of the far future, not even the stalwart Grey Knights are immune to getting stabbed to death by big old demon swords.
True.
When killed, if possible, a fallen Grey Knight is taken to the death field to Titan. Their body is then cleansed of taints, and then a 666 word oath of sanctity is inscribed on their corpse.
Okay.
But Grey Knights are a lot more interesting alive, so let's talk about their fighting style.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah. Damn, but the worst thing that you could... So, one of the issues with Warhammer is, specifically with Chaos, if the demons kill a Space Marine, the fear is that they'll somehow just get their souls resurrected in the warp as a demon that you're gonna have to fight against later. So if you're gonna have someone with incredible psyker energy like a Grey Knight, the last thing you want is them end up flipping sides and joining Chaos.
And unique weapons. All of the Grey Knight stuff is made on their exclusive Forge World of Deimos. Since Deimos is a moon of Mars, it's one of the smallest Forge Worlds, but it makes some of the most powerful gear. So that's right, fellas, size doesn't matter.
I personally don't care about this sentiment due to my extreme amount of size, but I'm sure this is great for all the people in the audience right now. Definitely subscribe.
Also, funnily enough, this moon was magically taken from Mars's orbit and put into Titan's orbit. How convenient.
What?
Of these weapons,
They stole the moon, I'm telling you, bro. Gru is definitely a character in Warhammer.
we obviously have their arsenal of Nemesis Force weapons that fits their knightly theme. Force weapons are weapons that are psychically attuned to the
Oh, their knight theme, because knights are... Oh, alright, okay.
user to be extra deadly to their foes, and extra deadly to their demonic foes.
Yeah!
The most common Nemesis weapons are swords, halberds, demon hammers, warding
Holy
staves,
shit.
and, coolest of all, dual Nemesis falchions.
Dude, that's so dope. I love falchions. They're such cool weapons.
Woo! Wait, probably just as cool as the falchions is the mother flippin' Nemesis Doomfist of the Dreadnoughts and Dreadknights. Woo!
Alright.
Then, in conjunction with their melee armaments, one of the coolest and most iconic aspects of the Grey Knights are their fucking epic arm-mounted storm bolters. Woo!
Dude, I appreciate the love for their absolute insane amounts of murdery. They're so good at murdering, guys.
Coolest shit ever.
Yep.
Originally, their
Facts.
Nemesis weapons had bolters on them like Custody Guardian Spears, but they eventually switched to having arm mounts, probably because it's sick as hell.
Dude, and it's also unique. I love the uniqueness of these different fighters. Dude, fuck, arm-mounted shotgun, torpedo shotguns, oh my god.
The arm mounts free up their offhand to better use their melee weapons, but it also keeps them ready to unleash ranged salvos at a moment's notice. These bolters are operated with psychic impulses, and each of their bolts are meticulously crafted over many years. To make even a single blessed null bolt, a person pure of soul and devotion is sacrificed. And you thought 50 cents to shoot a 357 was bad. Phew! The sacrifice of a
damn.
single person is debatably worth it, since null bolts are extremely effective against warp entities, as it severs them from the immaterium and thus greatly weakening them, if not just straight up killing them. But also, storm bolters shoot like a ton of bolts, so is like a single burst really more effective logistically than a few guardsmen or a gaggle of devoted Imperials? I don't know, but it also shows how insano and
They have shotguns strapped to their wrist. That's the most insane shit I've ever heard in my life. Oh my god, I am so here for it.
As the Imperium can be, so that's interesting flavoring at least. Also, theoretically, these would only be used against greater demons and other threats that are near immune to conventional weaponry,
Makes
but
sense.
I
mean, but that's what the Grey Knights are here for, right? You gotta realize, the Grey Knights exist to take down these threats that, you know, they would be more specially attuned to fight than like a regular squad of Space Marines. I completely think this makes so much sense.
Chaos Gate Demon Hunters, and let me tell you, hundreds of souls were lost to kill no-name hobo cultists and overly suspicious pillars, so take that as you will. Moving on, some common special weapons that the Knight choose are Psy Cannons, Silencers, and Incinerators. Psy Cannons are basically storm bolters that use an even more insano round charged with negative psychic energy.
Bro, dude, it's a flamethrower, but instead of shooting flames, it shoots souls. For the love of God, whoever came up with this needs to get a raise. This is insane. It's a soul flamethrower. What the frick, man?
Then, Silencers are actually a Xenos weapon modified to be used by the Grey Knights. Their exact function is unknown, but it basically focuses and amplifies the user's psychic energies into energy blasts.
That's insane.
These blasts are so potent that they could destabilize demons. And then finally, Incinerators are basically just flamethrowers.
Listen, it works. You know, I really feel like every single group gets flamethrowers, but you know, honestly, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
But with, you guessed it, psychic charging. The Prometheum used is psychically charged to shoot impossibly hot flames and to melt demons with literal hot burning holy faith.
Oh my god.
Then,
It's literally fucking cum lasers. Holy shit.
Next, we have their iconic Aegis armor. This is a special modified variant of power armor with special psychic circuitry and anti-chaos wards. Once again, many psychers are sacrificed to forge a single suit of Aegis armor.
Oh my god, dude, oh my god. You know all those YouTube videos why it would be suck to be born as like a dolphin or whatever? Like that big YouTube trend that everyone's doing now for all sorts of different things. Why it sucks to be born, whatever. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, there's this whole trend. Why it sucks to be born a Viltrumite. Why it sucks to be born a Walrus. Why it sucks to be born a Jedi. Like, and these are all different channels that are locking into this same goddamn concept of videos, right? Like, why it sucks to be born as, like, all these things. Bro, why it sucks to be born as a psyker. You're either sacrificed to the God Emperor or you're sacrificed to make Grey Knight's armor. Holy schlibnitz, that's crazy. But if you're sacrificed to keep the God Emperor alive, honestly, you're contributing a lot, I would think. I think that's incredibly awesome, and you should be honored. You should be honored to be the cum sacrifice of the God Emperor of mankind.
And to me, this is more justifiable than the damn bolt, since the armor isn't really an expendable resource like the ammo is. But thanks to the kind sacrifice of those psychers, Aegis armor is super durable and resilient against demons, psychic attacks, and obviously conventional weaponry. Nice. But if they want to be even more unkillable, they can opt for Terminator armor.
Dude.
And uniquely, every single Grey Knight
look at this thing with a massive halberd. That's insanity.
is authorized to use Terminator armor rather than just a veteran, since to even become a Grey Knight, you're already the top of the top.
Yeah, you have to go through regular Space Marine training, 666 more trials, and then get trained as a Grey Knight. Then go through Grey Knight training.
as for Grey Knight tactics, they operate in complete secrecy. Even to other Space Marines, the Knights are either wholly unknown or mere myths. And
the Space Marines don't even know that Grey Knights exist? Their faction is such a secret that they don't even know they're a faction that exists? I thought that they didn't know, like, the missions they went on, right? Like the Inquisitors. But they don't even know that this faction is real? That's insane. Again, personally, I really love that. Because I think that there is a concept at keeping people's actual knowledge of different chaos psychic shit at a minimum. Because the more they believe in demons, the more present demons are and the more susceptible they are to chaos. It is an incredibly terrifying catch-22 of Warhammer 40k, and I absolutely love that they keep that alive.
And to those who do witness them, they're mind-wiped or executed. To ensure this secrecy, the Knights are only called to face the most heinous chaos threats. When summoned, they try to—
I think that's so awesome. It's such an incredible idea. The more you know about Psyker shit, the more susceptible you are to chaos. So they created an entire legion of Space Marines so badass, that other Space Marines don't even know they exist. Because knowing they exist makes you a target to chaos.
Complete their objective as quickly as possible. So they'll teleport close to their enemy as possible, wreck shit, and then teleport away in complete secret.
That is so fucking awesome. They just teleport in, they wipe out like the strongest demons ever, they just zip out, 0 fame, 0 credit. The other Space Marines are like, what just happened? I don't know. That was crazy. I won all 7 swing states. I don't even know how it happened. And they're gone. In and out, 2-minute mission.
And if any other Imperials do catch a glimpse of them, well, the Inquisition will—
They come faster than I do, and that's saying something. Anyway.
Throw a bitch fit and try to execute all those Imperials.
Holy shit.
Furthermore, in the tactics department, Grey Knights are often put into specialized squads. Strike squads are the basic unit that forms the backbone of their formations.
Nice.
Inceptor squads are the coolest ones,
Nice.
as they all have personal teleporters to wreak havoc with unparalleled
Holy shit,
mobility.
That's insane. It's so crazy cool. It is Rick and Morty with portal guns flying in and out, murdering demons.
Then purgation squads are the heavy weapon specialists. And finally, the 2 most elite squads are the purifiers and the paladins.
God damn. Paladins. Holy
Both of these are composed of the most elite and most pure knights in the chapter. The purifiers are the holiest and most spiritual. They ensure the sanctity of the order while also inspiring their brothers in battle. And the paladins—
the best kind of religious extremists—
are the most accomplished fighters in the chapter. These dudes are even nuttier than the average Grey Knight and are some of the most skilled combatants in the Imperium and entire universe for that matter.
Damn!
Then finally, let's close this off with the coolest Grey Knight, nay, the coolest Warhammer unit of all time.
Okay.
The greatest, the most badassest, ultra spectacular killing machine, the Nemesis Dreadknight.
Wait, is this a mech piloted by a mech piloted by a dude? Oh, shit.
Okay, well,
I feel like I got you baited.
not gonna lie, I do kind of like the Dreadknight. It kind of reminds me of those Matrix mechs, or even more badassly, the Lego Exoforce dudes.
All right.
Plus, this is far from the dumbest thing in the Grey Knights. Their average lore blurb is like 5 times sillier than how this thing looks. If the model could just do anything but its silly-ass, awkward prom picture stance, it actually does look pretty badass. Plus, this thing was made to combat greater—
That is crazy. Think about it. This is like actually Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann for real.
demons, so the imagery of this thing dueling a huge bloodthirster or something is just super hella cool. But that's the Grey Knights. If you want an ultra elite but not quite Custodes elite, super ultra pure mega—
No, but I think it's not just that they're not Custodes elite. Unlike the Custodes, who we did a deep dive on already. The Custodes who are specifically there to protect the Emperor and go on specific elite missions maybe when Gilliman shows up. But these guys, they exist to counter chaos. They teleport in, they do little missions, 2-minute adventure, pop out. I think that's awesome.
Marines, then these are your boys. Hell, in their entire chapter history, not a single knight fell to chaos.
A statement like that is only so badass because you know that Primarchs fell to chaos. Half the Primarchs, sons of the Emperor, fell to chaos. Half of them. And not a single Grey Knight. God damn. Respect. Respect my brothers, goddamn, my goddamn goats over here.
Oh man, that is pure. And also, admittedly, I've never been that big of a Grey Knights fan. I'm more of a Space Wolf enjoyer myself. One big hangup I have is that I'm torn whether or not I like how silly extreme their lore is. A lot of people say that Grey Knights are an example of grim derp, and that would be because they are. Like, the 1 in a million novitiates becoming Grey Knights thing. A single life for a single bullet. Hundreds of lives.
Dude, how insane is that? That they would they'd sacrifice a Psyker's life to make 1 Grey Knight bullet. That's fucking insane. And then they walk out with machine guns.
It's for armor, etc., etc. It's just logistically absurd. Like, it's hard to believe that 1,000 Space Marines or something is somehow less effective than a single Grey Knight. Or
I personally think it makes sense to have specialized units for different special things. While I do think that definitely 1,000 Space Marines would absolutely obliterate a single Grey Knight, I think the purpose of a single Grey Knight, as opposed to 1,000 extra Space Marines, might do better for the Imperium on a much grander scale. Like, it's such an interesting concept to have a strike force like this.
Hell, even a custodian seemingly has less sacrifice made to make one of them. And I actually love the silly and over-the-top nature of 40k. Grey Knights just kinda skirt the line for me. On one hand, I love that they exemplify the needless, insane sacrifices that the Imperium is willing to make just to try and preserve their dying empire. And I love how
I think that's awesome. I think that is so awesome that you need to do all of that to make sure that Chaos, you have a specific strike force against Chaos. I think that's awesome.
Home, just how fucking absurdly elite and insano the Knights are.
And how much of a threat Chaos is. Because Chaos corrupts Space Marines. You know, to be real, what would you rather? 1,000 Space Marines that have a chance of being corrupted by Chaos, or 1 Grey Knight that won't be corrupted by Chaos and will stand against Chaos to prevent the corruption of other Space Marines? Like, when you look at it from that perspective, it makes sense to make that level of sacrifice for an elite squad like this.
But, on the other hand, it's almost just too stupid. And I know some of the Grey Knights' more dumb lore got retconned, but I'm still iffy on them.
Alright.
But, I mean, it's hard not to like super wizard Space Marines.
Wizard Space Marines, I'm here.
With dual magic.
Every single one of them had to pull their sword from a stone.
Swords and an armed machine gun. And also, aesthetically, they're some of my favorites of all time. I'm just not a huge fan of their lore. Also, Grey Knight players can piss off with the wolf hate. So many Grey Knight fans say how stupid and Mary Sue the wolves are, but brother, you literally like the Grey Knights. When you get down,
God, dude, I can't with this inner Warhammer fandom conflict. I don't know, man.
So the Space Wolves and the Grey Knights are actually quite similar. They pull off absurd feats that shouldn't be possible. They're great against Psykers. They love their runes, and they have crazy extremo characters, and so on and so on. Space Wolves just aren't total dickheads like the Grey Knights.
Dude, he's just out there shilling his Space Wolves. Oh, we gotta do a Space Wolf lore dive.
Also, I don't even care about the OP characters in a setting like 40k, since I believe rule of cool trumps most things, and OP characters are cool.
And also, so one interesting thing about the OP characters in 40k, nothing is overpowered if everything is overpowered. Like, if you're gonna have overpowered characters on all sides fighting, then nothing's overpowered. That's just my opinion.
But just don't be a hypocrite with your blind faction simping. But anyways, I think I sufficiently pissed off all the Knights viewers, so let me know what you think of them.
Hell yeah. I think the Grey Knights are super fucking cool. I think a Spec Ops anti-chaos force, because you know how dangerous chaos is so dope. And the lengths they go, sacrificing lives for every single bullet made for Space Marines, like Grey Knights specifically, I think it is such a fascinating way to show the utilitarian aspect of how important it is to keep chaos at bay. The fact that the Grey Knights are so elite that even other Space Marine chapters don't know they exist, because knowing they exist makes you a target to chaos, is also so dope. I love them. I'm here for more chaos shit. I am here for more Warhammer lore. Definitely subscribe for more Warhammer lore. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch. Stay weird, fam.